Hello. On the notification, I said that this was a surprise stream, but for the people who were on stream yesterday, I was announcing this like, I may do a stream, maybe I won't, so it's not that much of a surprise. So, for some, surprise, for some, no. Anyway, whatever. We're here, we're doing a theater kid stream of consciousness. Anyway, welcome. It's another day, another stream in fascist America. Welcome to whatever this is, an attempt at providing education, advocacy, and a little common sense in this digital wasteland. I'm Aubri Devashrayee. Welcome to the people with good intent, wanting to create a better world than the shithole we're existing in, and wanting to have good faith discussion, even good faith criticism when applicable. But to the people with ill intent who are here to exacerbate these hierarchies of human dignity, fuck you, and a curse be upon you. Okay. We're streaming. We're off, I guess. I did a follow-up with the reading, the cleansing that I got last week, because this place is haunted, or was, and there was a confirmation in it that it's haunted no longer. And we have not been having as many issues with our washer, which has just like randomly like been going and going at times and like won't stop until we unplug it. It's that same area that I've said is cursed. So, validating myself. The toilet would also have like some, in that area, have like a weird like film that would develop there no matter how many times I cleaned it. And that seems paranormal, but that's not happening. So there we go. Did you give the house a priesthood blessing? No, damn it. That's why we didn't put olive oil, we didn't flavor the house when we moved in. God damn it. I guess maybe literally. Hello, Turd Bomb. Welcome. How are things with you? Did one of those on my mission. Yep. I think the first like apartment we lived in, my partner blessed the apartment. And also that did not stop our neighbor from cooking meth, which I'm not demonizing anyone needing to do what they need to do for money, you know, especially with all of this capitalist colonizer bullshit. But the main issue I take is that it is extremely hazardous to everyone's health involved, including neighbors. There were kids that were living below, so concerned about them. And I guess also us, concerned about us. I don't know what those long-term health effects are, but like at this point, what isn't killing us? Especially these days. It's like we can't eat anything. Okay, great. Amazing. Not only are we being poisoned by our water and air, and like, at least in Utah, there like maybe an earthquake at any time that like ends everyone. Uh, Also our food. So it just is ever more important to be like reliant on ourselves and not corporations. And yeah. Yeah, also the heat. I mean, I could go on and on and on about like what is killing us at this point, like let alone the state sanctioned Gestapo we have on the streets, and just cops existing as marginalized people. So anyway, this is all over the place, but yeah. For the most part, I'm gonna have this be a feel good stream. despite mentioning all these things, because somehow we need to continue, I guess, in this world. Have some things to look forward to. Um, yeah. The how I got started, I've been wanting to do like a theater kid stream of consciousness stream. I mean, I guess I could have just not added stream at the end. Um, is because I've been wanting to do this for a while and talking about like the things, like some moments that were very formative for me in my development as a theater kid, but also since we are reading Shakespeare, like this is fitting. And so I have a number of things that I've pulled up that I would like to go over. A trip down memory lane. Some of these things come from accounts that like it's like a bootleg of like musicals, and these I've tried to pull the same original clips that I would watch a lot as a theater kid. And so sometimes the footage is extremely grainy. This is part of the experience. I'm not going to be going for HD. We're going for what originally was what I was perceiving, or at least as close to it as we can. Hello, Bunso, Aliana, welcome. Glad to have you. How are things with you? Okay, so surprise, you bite. The kitty bites. Glad to hear you're okay. I hope you have been able to have a decent weekend so far. Um, so I have a lot of Shakespeare in my algorithm. That is not really a surprise. That shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, I don't think. But this is a clip that I hadn't seen before, and I was like, I want to watch the full thing on stream because Sandra Oh is in it. Lupita Nyong'o is in it. Um, oh my God, what's his name? Incredible talent. Ah, I didn't mean to do that. Please hold. No, not yet. Um, Peter Dinklage. Okay, Peter Dinklage is in it, and he is so talented. He's great in Shakespeare. I think he needs to be doing this all the time. So he is in it, and then this got the wheels turning of like, oh, I should play that one scene of the witches from the Denzel Washington Macbeth. Who directed this? I don't remember. I should also look that up too, probably. Um, and then I was like, well, maybe for this surprise stream, we'll just do a theater kid one. So that's what we're doing. Macbeth movie. Directed by. Written, directed, and produced. Oh, by Joel Cohen. Interesting. I'm doing all right. That's nice of you to ask. Um, I got a follow up cleansing and reading for the one I did last week. And the reader cleanser was mentioning that, like, our house seems to be clear of hauntings. And it does feel that way because I'm like, I mean, I never have restful sleep. I would never call it that. I don't know what that means. But it's certainly more restful than it has been, and I don't feel like I'm being drained quite as often. So that's great. Um and in this reading, she also said that my eyes are a beacon of spirituality. And I'm like, Keep talking like that, and I might actually believe in spiritual. So I don't know what that means really, but I do like the sound of that. I'll take that. I do feel like I can get a pretty good read on people, so I don't know if that's what that means, or like perceiving people. I've been told I have a very direct gaze, and I've attributed that to being a Scorpio. Could you repeat before the eyes being beacon of um I think so the reader said that our house seems to be clear of spirits. I've never felt near gay, so I'll take your word for it. Yeah, that's what I've been told. For better or worse, because I think it can be people can feel like threatened by that. And I try not like I'm not one to be like staring at people, but I do have like when I'm talking to people, I look at people in their eyes, so I don't know what that means. But I do feel like I have a decent read, but you know, time will tell. I guess we can let other people decide that. I'm gonna just be doing my thing, continuing. Yeah, I'm glad that the house is not quite as cursed. So that's always good to hear. And also to like have my ego stroked a little bit. I was like, okay, thank you. I am a beacon. Okay. Anyway, you should have asked the reader to ward you. I think she did do something to help with that. I love ego stroking. I know. I'm not opposed to it. Especially like the older I get and like the less I care about people's opinions, especially like people I don't care about. The more I'm like, okay, I'll take this compliment. Maybe I'll let it even go to my head a little bit. Especially notoriously being like very hard on myself. I'm trying to adopt this approach. Hello, Fendi. Welcome. How are you doing? How do you know who's a good psychic reader and who's a fake? Um, I think there's some people. I think there are many people. Yeah, it's all vibes based. Yeah, entirely. Um, if we're talking about like people who are going into it like for a grift specifically, I feel like that can be pretty obvious. But I do think that there are a lot of people that may like have a gift of reading or they at least think they do. I think people can also develop more like intuitive abilities of like how you develop like you can develop like street smarts and like sizing people up and like reading people and like intention. Um but I think a lot of it kind of comes down to of like who you like talking about vibes, who you vibe with because there's some people like I don't like to like doubt people's abilities. I kind of am like, well, if this is for me, then cool. If not, then I I'm not going to be like this was a fake experience. Um because I do think a lot of the time it's like people may believe that they have a gift or at least like attempting to connect somehow. At least that's like what I would hope would be the case. Maybe that's too much optimism to be had. Not something I'm really known for. But I think a lot of it for me, like I said, is like coming down to like vibes of like if someone is saying something and it feels like it resonates with you, and then you're like, oh, okay, then like there might be some things here for me. But it doesn't also mean that they're like everything people say is going to like make sense for you or be like exactly what you are like, oh, that's exactly for me. That's exactly for me like especially like just depending on like the methods people are using like if you understand them or not. um yeah, because it's like I would hope that people go into situations with good faith or at least like uh like feeling out the situation, like looking up like reviews of people, or like some of the people who tend to have like really really resonating vibes for me are people who are like, I don't do this very often. I only do this for like certain people, where it's more of like a service, which isn't to like say people shouldn't be allowed to like make money from it, and that like that can't also be a service that people are just paying for. But yeah, I often feel like it's people like that uh that tend to have some of the like purest intentions, but like unfortunately, money is something we all need. So I don't know. Especially if there are people like they aren't genuinely trying to like understand you, or like even be like, what are your like, do you have any questions? Are you like coming in with a specific question? Or if they like don't like, I think trying to like get to know you a teeny bit is helpful, to be like, I am going to try to help you out. I don't know. I don't know if any of that made sense. Which some people may say, like, well, if they're trying to get to know you, then they're trying to like manipulate you or whatever. But I feel like a lot of it just has to do with like what situation are you finding yourself in, of like, is it like a place or a person that's known to like be entering situations of good faith? Because like especially people who like do have gifts and are doing it as a service, it is extremely like offensive if there are people who are doing it just to like pretend and not genuinely like enter a situation of like, I want to like see what like actually help people out and like provide a service. um that gets talked about a lot, because a lot of these spaces are pretty like interconnected from what I understand, like people going to events, or um I don't know, and people can do this like in their free time and stuff. Like it's not like, at least what I'm thinking of like if you have like a grifter specifically that is like trying to make a lot of money from it, like usually like word can get around from what I understand. But I don't know. There can be people, I'm sure, that just like bullshit you and aren't trying to genuinely like provide something of substance. I'm still like filling out a lot of stuff. I do think there are people who do have like intuitive gifts and are good at reading people. Some people who just like, depending on the method, that's just like a vehicle for using those gifts. Um but yeah, I like, I feel like the people who are known to be like, oh, the celebrity like readers and stuff, these are the people I'm like the most distrustful of, and often those are the people that we have like the most exposure to with a lot of this kind of stuff. But yeah, if people are practicing more like indigenous traditional um types of spirituality and readings, and it is a way to like genuinely like offer people service, I tend to be more trusting. um Especially when there are people of like, you can like, it's not through like a corporatization, it's like who you know, and knowing like who offers what and who has gifts for certain things. Like there is that element to it. I don't know, because I think a lot of like cultures just in general have different elements of spirituality, but um there are some that have like been forced to develop it as a way to resist power structures too, that I think can be very like decolonizing and empowering. Anyway, I'm all over the place here. I don't know if that answers your question, or even really like if this opinion will stay the same. I'm open minded, I guess, is one of the best ways to put it. And I feel like I'm decent at like interpreting people's intent. And if I feel like people are like bullshitting me, like they are trying to like genuinely like do something, I don't know. I'm good at picking up on bullshit a lot of the time, which I also attribute this to uh, being a Scorpio. Just wanted some life advice from a different perspective. I don't know if that was even advice, but I wasn't sure if I was going to find a legit psychic off of Google Maps. I mean, I think it depends. Like, there's some like metaphysical like stores or like psychics, I think, that can have gifts, and that's just a way to like get out like your name and like make money from it. Um, but yeah, I would like look at reviews and stuff. Honestly, like if you know people who have gotten readings, this is how I get like most of my recommendations anyway. It's usually from like people I trust. Um, because I feel like that is the the best way to like get around a lot of bullshit. So I don't know if that is helpful if you know people who have someone, but even if they do have someone that they trust, if you go there and like you don't like vibe with them, I think it's like that is normal. Like I've definitely had some like readers for things who I feel like we were able to like hit it off in a way or like immediately like have like be on the same page more like that's just like with any sort of experience with a person of like where you just like vibe together, and then other people where it's like been kind of awkward but then during the reading it was like spot on. But most of the time I feel like the people who like I vibe with like in person, like outside of the reading too, these tend to be like the best kinds for me personally. I also know that's not a great, like a super straightforward answer. But I know that there are some like metaphysical like stores and stuff that can offer readings. I would hope that like if someone is being hired for something that they've like been able to go through a process of like showing certain people that like they have good intent and can be competent at readings. Anyway, that was garbled, but there you go. I didn't call this stream of consciousness for no reason. May I say something off topic? Yes, you may. I hate living with no emotional empathy. It takes so much energy and effort to constantly physically think from people's perspectives, then guess what they feel based off of how I'd probably feel if it happened to me. I mean, that that seems like it would be tiring, especially with you describing what some of your previous like experiences have been. But like to be honest, there are people who may like feel empathy in certain ways, perhaps like more than you do like naturally towards certain people, but like going through that mental exercise is something that I think a lot of people don't really engage in. Maybe that's cynical. But that may like that does sound like it is work, but I think ultimately all of us should be engaging in that kind of work. And then also the like burden isn't just to be like all on people who exhibit like sociopathy. It's like the fact that you're even engaging in that process, I think shows a lot of maturity, and to like fight against just not wanting to try to understand. Like, I'm sure that takes a very conscious effort, and that's a lot more than I think a lot of people do. So, like, good for you for engaging in that. I think it's I mean, I don't have your personal experience, but I think it's worth continuing to do, um, especially with like wanting to limit harm in the world. But yeah, of like engaging, like you wanting to create a better world and like going through the mental exercise of wanting other people to be okay and actually making efforts to do that kind of work is something to be proud of. I'm not a mental health specialist, but that's my personal opinion. It's like it's easy to just kind of coast, like even for people who uh don't have your diagnosis, to just be like, well, it's too hard to think about what other people are thinking and feeling. I think that is very common. And so like you do, like there's that shared experience that hopefully that doesn't make you feel as alone, but it does take a certain amount of like vulnerability and maturity to be like, if I don't want to cause harm, if I want to move throughout the world in a way that is creating a better place, that that exercise feels very worth it and something that we should all be doing. I don't know. That's my take on it. But keep up the good work. I think that's always worth trying to engage in. It's like just the fact that you're trying, I think, is really important. All right. Shall we get into the clips that I have prepared? And feel free to respond if you feel like it, Eliana, in the chat. But also don't feel pressured if you don't feel like it. All right. So this is the clip that I was mentioning, that's of the 12th night. If you are not familiar with the 12th night, you might be familiar with the show She's the Man. This was a show that Amanda Bynes was in. The first thing I saw Channing Tatum in, I think, is that one of his first things he was in? And that movie is based off of the 12th night. So, drag, clearly. Viola is dressing up as her brother, and she is wooing the Duchess. So, wait, the Duchess? I don't think it's the Duchess. I'm thinking of the Duke Orsino. She is wooing Olivia. So, this will be a treat. The cast is stacked. I've only seen like this halfway through and stopped because I wanted to watch it on stream.
Call in my gentlewoman.
Gentlewoman! My lady calls.
Give me my veil. Come. Throw it over my face. We'll once more hear Orsino's embassy.
The Honorable Lady of the House, which is she?
Speak to me, I'll answer for her.
Yes.
Your will?
Your will, the fans. Lupita is so hot. I mean, just in general, but I'm really digging this look for her.
Most radiant, exquisite, and unmatchable beauty. I pray you, tell me if this be the lady of the house, for I never saw her. I would be loath to cast away my speech, for besides that it is excellently well penned, I have taken great pains to con it. Whence came you, sir? Good gentle one, give me slightest assurance, if you be the lady of the house, that I may proceed in my speech.
Are you a comedian?
No, my profound heart. And yet I swear I am not that I play. Are you the lady of the house?
If I do not usurp myself, I am.
Most certain, if you are she, you do usurp yourself. For what is yours to bestow is not yours to reserve. But this is from my commission. I will on with my speech in your praise, and then show you the heart of my message.
Come to what's important, Int. I forgive you the praise.
It alone concerns your ear.
What are you? What would you?
What I am and what I would are a secret as maidenhead. To your ears, divinity. To any others,
Secret as maidenhead, so like virginity. Also saying like I don't have any bad intentions.
profanation.
Give us the place alone, we will hear this divinity.
Me at the beginning of the stream.
Now, sir, what is your text?
Boom, boom, most lady.
A comfortable doctrine, and much may be said of it. Where lies your text?
In Orsino's bosom.
In his bosom. In what chapter of his bosom?
To answer by the method in the first of his heart.
Oh, I have read it. It is heresy. Have you no more to say?
Good madam, let me see your face.
Have you any commission from your lord to negotiate with my face? Let him approach. Call in my gentlewoman.
So she is saying a veil at the beginning of this, and I'm wondering if her veil is the sunglasses. Okay. That's what she's talking about. The cast really is so talented. Wow. Back. Sorry I had to pack up after sending that. Didn't hear a response. Oh, I mean, to paraphrase, I think it's admirable that you keep trying. I'm sure that does get very tiring of having to exert that kind of energy to be so conscious. And honestly, I think that is something that people who may feel more empathy in certain ways don't go through that exercise for many kinds of people. And so I think it's admirable that you try, and also that people would benefit from going through the same exercise more regularly. It is tiring being conscious. Yeah. I miss being a mindless, impulsive drone. Yeah, and also, like, even how, like, you've mentioned before of, like, being with certain movements of, like, that also diminishing, like, your capacity for feeling empathy, and of, like, breaking down all of that brainwashing and propaganda that does take a conscious effort and is really important. I think a lot of people can learn from that. Life was so much simpler, and all the evils I'd commit from being impulsive and mindless doesn't even affect me. I mean, the fact that you can recognize it is what makes the difference, though. Being in certain movements does diminish. Yeah, and, like, almost, like, I know how, like, you're saying of, like, having a lesser capacity than maybe some people for empathy, that may be something of, like, building up a muscle. I'm not a mental health expert, by the way, so I don't take this as, like, mental health advice, but, like, even going through that exercise, that, like, hopefully, like, over time it becomes less strenuous and something that we should all be engaging in. Self-awareness is an amazing blessing. Yep, exactly. Keep up the good work. I'm proud of you for doing that. I think we would all benefit from going through that exercise with every single person we come in contact with. And then if there are people with ill intent, not letting them use us and hurt us, you know? All right. Continuing with Shakespeare, this is the scene that I was talking about from the Macbeth with Denzel Washington that was directed by Cohen. And Catherine Hunter plays all three witches, and she really just kills this shit. I remember watching this and I was like, this is maybe one of the like coolest things I've ever seen in art. So I haven't seen this for a while. We'll see if this remains, but it has like stuck in my memory permanently, I feel.
Where's that been, sister? Killing swine? Sister, where thou? Look what I have. Show me. Show me. Here I have a sailor's thumb, wrecked as homeward he did come. A drum. A drum. Macbeth did come. Aye. In a sieve I'll did a sail. And like a rat without a tail, I'll do, and I'll do. I'll drain him, dry as hay. Sleep shall neither night nor day hang upon his penthouse lid. He shall live, a man forbid. Weary Sir Knights, 9 times 9, shall he dwindle, peak, and pine. The weird
Okay. I was going to insert my thoughts, but maybe we'll just keep going because this is almost over anyway.
sisters, hand in hand, posters of the sea and land, thus to go about, thrice to thine, and thrice to mine, and thrice again to make up 9. Peace. The charm's wound up.
So she's doing a charm. I mean, it's still so fucking good. Her performance really is astounding. Um, I think some of my issues with this, like I think the idea is really cool that she's doing all of the lines of the sisters. There is this element though of like people with like dissociative identity personality, no, dissociative identity disorder of feeling like they grow up being taught that all of these like forces are telling them that they can be like possessed or evil sometimes. So like I don't necessarily like that element of it of like anytime we see someone who may be like switching alters in a way in any sort of media that is viewed as being evil or as like people being crazy as opposed to like people having a disorder that like most of the time it's because of a lot of trauma and and that people are more likely to be hurt than they are to be violent or like want to hurt other people. And so this particular version kind of looks like she may have some ill intent uh especially with saying like it's looking like she's doing a spell in it, as opposed to like a reading of what is going on, which is how I kind of read it in my own personal taste for Macbeth. Also, how there are people who um, are extremely flexible and stuff who would be put in like circuses and human zoos essentially of like people being treated in very inhumane conditions. So it's playing off of this idea of like what is like considered normal to be able to do with our bodies, which can be extremely ableist. But I think with her performance of this direction, because these are choices that are from the director since he also wrote it and produced it, like her understanding the words that she is saying in the text like is so incredibly on point though. So holding all of these things at once of like not wanting to perpetuate like harmful stereotypes, but they're like how we saw at the beginning of this, the birds that are circling overhead. So it's like, was that her on the ground, like one of them where there are two other sisters in the sky, but then like she also turns into a bird kind of at the end. Like as we see with this part, like with her flapping her wings, like especially seeing like this shot that really sticks in my head. um I think I'm going to show at a different time with where the witches meet Macbeth and Banquo, because it does show like multiple shots where it looks like there are multiple people, so it may not be just this portrayal of her feeling like there are like three sisters like in one person, but it's still not completely eliminated as a possibility in this interpretation. It really is well thought out though. Her performance is incredible. Like one of the like best like Shakespearean performances I feel I've seen of like understanding like the meter and emphasis, and also like making it feel like it is natural, but also like as she's doing things that like some people may consider unnatural. It's just like this really interesting, like visually juxtaposition of what is going on. It's also on a battlefield. So it's like whether she is personally experiencing this battlefield or this is like a vision that she is seeing of what Macbeth did or what he will do. I think it's all just like very layered, which is cool to unpack. Okay. Whoops. So, this got me thinking about the things that I watched growing up of that really got me to become a theater kid. And this is a change of pace, but I would watch this from The Drowsy Chaperone. It is a performance of Sutton Foster. She is wildly talented. I think she was part of this show. Like she has been Broadway royalty for a long time, won a lot of Tonys. Um, she was part of this show called like Bunheads for a bit. I never saw that, but it looked kind of dumb. So sorry, Sutton. It's not your fault that the writing might be weird. She's been in some other things too that I need to look up. Was she in like an episode of Glee? If she wasn't, that's a huge shame. Especially when they had like Gwyneth Paltrow instead. Like, okay. Anyway, this is a clip of Sutton Foster in The Drowsy Chaperone. She is playing Janet Van de Graaff, this star who is leaving the stage and is going to get married. So it's a commentary on like the span of a woman's career, especially in this era of like um the 30s. Is that right? I need to look that up of when it's supposed to take place. But it's a play within a play. So you have like the narrator, who's one of the main characters. He sits and listens to The Drowsy Chaperone, which isn't an actual play, but then it isn't a play because there's a show called The Drowsy Chaperone that they're putting on. But he like will interrupt the play at times to like give commentary or like dance around and stuff. It's a really fun musical. I think there are a number of problematic things with it. A lot of musicals do have problematic elements, especially with this element of class a lot of the time in musicals, where there is a whitewashing that happens, of course, of like history, but also of the casting. And over time, things have become a little more inclusive, but it is an extremely expensive thing to participate in anyway, not the performers, but um to even put on a Broadway show in general, it can take a lot of money. And so there needs to be a lot of sponsors, like rich people who are willing to pay for it, especially if it's getting it off the ground. Um, and it is expensive to go to shows, especially on Broadway. So there are these elements of class that we must acknowledge. But I was actually in this musical and I actually played this role as Janet Van de Graaff. It was fun because I liked being like the ingenue, like the lead. I mean, back then, before, I mean, there aren't really like non-binary roles, at least expressly written that way. And before I even like had come to terms and uh, come out of my chrysalis with my gender identity. So I liked playing ingenues to be like the like lead female part is what that means. An ingenue usually means like the romantic interest that usually has like some ballad types of songs. But I liked that element, and I also liked that I got to be funny. And there are many like ingenue type roles that are written very serious, like with very serious characteristics, and they aren't that like humorous. That's normally like the friend of the ingenue that has that's more of like a character actor, and so there are more elements for like being funny, and so I liked that this was like a combination of these things. So this is one of the like original clips that I would watch. When did this come out again? Of like this. So this came out in 2026, but the the video was taken from a different video that I could not find of what I would originally watch. So I think I may have misspoken there. Misspoken? I think that's the correct term. But like seeing all of the like graininess and like the recording of a recording, I think like essentially what it is. These are the types of things that I would be watching.
Miss Vandegraff, is it true you're giving up a successful career to marry a man you hardly know?
Yes, Robin and I met on the Lido deck of the Ile de France. He amused me with stories of his father's oil interests. We spooned briefly, and then he proposed.
So you won't be returning to the stage ever?
I shan't.
You shan't?
I shan't.
Can we quote you on that?
Of course. One more question. Yes.
Why in the world would anyone put olives in a Gibson?
That's the drowsy chaperone. Drowsy was another word for drunk. So the chaperone who's supposed to make sure that Janet is behaving herself.
I have a question. How can you give up the footlights when you know very well you got grease paint in your veins?
Victor, please.
God, Janet, I am begging you. Dump the mug.
That's
Stay
her
with the
manager.
Follies. I'll give you anything you want. I'll Oh, fine. I'll put your name above mine on the marquee.
Oh, Victor,
Or the 20s when the Follies were around.
if you think this is about vanity, you couldn't be more wrong. I don't want to show off no more. I don't want to sing tunes no more. I don't want to ride moons no more. I don't want to show off. I don't want to wear this no more. Play the saucy Swiss Miss no more. Blow my signature no more. I don't want to show off.
Janet, please.
Don't try to control me. I've made up my mind.
Look at this extension. Do you see that? Do you see this leg extension? She's such a good dancer.
Don't try to control me. I've made up my mind.
Hello?
And that's it. I quit. I'm leaving it all behind.
All these costume changes.
I don't want to be cute no more. Make the gentleman hoot no more. I don't want to wear fruit no.
Also the like the sexist thing of like, oh, it's so flattering when I'm catcalled. That's very much of this time, as people say. Hello, Bouncy, welcome. How are you doing this weekend, if it is in fact a weekend for you? I was just looking up, so this is supposed to like take place during like the time of the Ziegfeld Follies. So they were around from 1907 to 1931 in New York. But let me see where the Drowsy Chaperone, when it's supposed to take place. It's fictional. Parody of the 1920s. Okay. So yeah, it also is parodying like prohibition of like when people were drinking all the time, especially because it was forbidden. Hence the drowsy, which is another word for drunk.
more. I don't want to show off. She don't want to show off no more. Not me. Living on hills no more. Hey, Trey. Going reviews no more. Oh, gee, I don't want to show off.
She don't want to show off.
I don't want to show off.
She don't want to show off no more.
Not me.
We got another costume change. I'm like, okay, this Orientalism we could do without. There also is a character named Adolfo, and who is written in ways that's like, okay, I don't know about this. Tired but good. Glad to hear you're good. I hope that you can be recuperating, have time to give back to yourself.
I don't want to show off.
So there was a scream because there was a snake that she supposedly was charming, but we didn't really get to see even who was screaming. It's all kind of weird. Was bussing around a bunch. Like on the bus. I mean, using any form of public transportation, but especially the bus, trying to, even just like the mental exercise of trying to figure out like connections to things and timing, it is really strenuous. Had some errands and some shit, then hung with a friend. Bus schedule mental work is no joke. Yeah, honestly. it's like a part-time job almost of like figuring out like bussing around in a day, and especially if like things are not running exactly on time, which, rarely are they, that you have to like then consistently adjust. It's like the mental yeah, the mental strain is a lot. And learning how to do it is like going to college. Yeah, of like reading charts, like learning these different apps, a certificate course. Yeah, or at least it's like a minor. Or yeah, a certificate, a minor. And then if you're going to a different place, like in a different city, then it can be like slightly different and or very different depending on like how far you're going. That's like, okay, this is a lot. I hope you were able to get the things done that you needed to. But yeah, that's no joke. Sending you care, strength, solidarity. Wow. Another outfit
no
too.
More attention. I'm counting to 10, and I'm through. Farewell. On to you. You'll never see this.
Oh, one-handed cartwheel.
You'll never see this. Never see this. Never see that. Never see these again.
So she kind of did a gentle nod to her legs, but or her chest, more likely. But that's like, when I was in it, that was the direction, is to make it look like it was your legs. But very obviously, it's like intentionally a little more ambiguous.
I don't wanna change keys no more. I don't wanna strip tease no more. I don't wanna take cheese no more. I don't care if you score.
I think also when we did it, it wasn't strip tease. We changed the words to something because heaven forbid you mention that in Utah.
I don't wanna be cheered no more. Praised no more.
Cut to me like actually strip teasing
Loved no more.
as an adult.
I don't wanna show off. She don't wanna show off. I don't wanna show off.
Editing that lyric didn't stop it from me.
I don't wanna show. No more.
I don't think she wants to show off. So it's supposed to be ironic. So she says. Yep, exactly.
Did I miss something?
Mr. Feltic, it is
That's the
painful to
chaperone.
obvious that Miss Vandergraff has
You
no
did.
desire to continue a life on...
It's also supposed to be funny that the chaperone is supposed to be chaperoning, keeping an eye on her, and she has no idea what's going on most of the time. She's just drinking.
Can't you see that it's killing her soul?
Boys, don't worry. This isn't over yet.
Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't do an encore.
I don't wanna encore no more. Keep on the shout for more, no more.
Look at this outfit.
Disappear to the floor, no more.
Stunning.
I don't wanna show.
Also, the descent into the stage. That was not something we had, but that would have been cool. All right. So, continuing with some of this theater kid inspiration, this is, I think, the original that I would watch 18 years ago. I'm like, how old am I? Yeah, I think this was one of the original clips that I would watch. This is from the musical Jekyll and Hyde. Once again, there are some problematic things with, portrayals of like what it even means to be mentally ill within Jekyll and Hyde. This version, I think, has David Hasselhoff, which I do not like, and he's not that good. So I'm just gonna say that. But it does have Colleen Sexton and Andrea Rivette. They are both talented, and he is not singing in this. So this this music is very beautiful. It's written by Frank Wildhorn, who also wrote the music for The Scarlet Pimpernel. So unfortunately, it's very beautiful. Because The Scarlet Pimpernel is a shitty story, but I have to tell you, the music in the musical really is lovely. That's part of the propaganda, I'm sure. Oh, they had the Sweeney Todd cast do a Tiny Desk concert. I just noticed this. Yeah, this is the one that Josh Groban was in. Remember him? He was loved by the Mormons, let me tell you. Linda Eder, I think. She was in Jekyll and Hyde. I think she was in the original cast. Don't quote me on that. I'll look that up. But she was married to, with Frank Wildhorn, so I guess that worked out for her. He wrote a lot of really great parts for her. Kind of like Andrew Lloyd Webber and Sarah Brightman. Anyway, this number is lovely. A friend and I did this song for a choir report because we had to do like musical numbers. And so you could choose to do like a solo or a duet or like a group song. And so another theater kid and I did this song together. I never did a solo because I was more scared to sing in front of my peers of like having the lights on than like being in a show where you're like on stage and you can't really see the audience that well. Anyway, let's give this a watch.
See my tears run down the window pane.
This wig is wild.
I sit and watch the sky, and I can hear it breathe a sigh. Think of him, how we were, and when I think of him, then I
Remember. Okay, I won't sing throughout it. So, the story of this, maybe I should have opened with this. This is Dr. Jekyll, who is trying to eliminate human evil, like bad inclinations, but a lot of the time it gets to be more of like a commentary on like perceived mental health. He is engaged to her. What is her name in the story? I read it just before this. Emma. And the evil side of him, Mr. Hyde, is wanting to be with Lucy, who is a sex worker.
His eyes I can see where my heart longs to be.
Okay, get off the screen, David.
I see a gentle glow, and that's where I'll be safe. I know, safe in his
I sang this part.
arms, close to his heart, but I don't know quite where to start. I'm looking in his eyes. Will I see beyond tomorrow? I'm looking in his eyes. Will I see beyond the sorrow that I feel? Will his eyes reveal to me promises or lies? But he can conceal from me the love in his eyes. I know wherever you look, his eyes, like an open book, his eyes, and most of all, the look that hypnotizes me. If I'm wise, I will walk away and gladly. But sadly, sometimes it's hard to talk away the memories that you
This is supposed to take place in like the 1880s, by the way.
giving for. Now I realize everything worth living for is there in his eyes. Love is worth the giving for. Now I realize everything worth living for is there
Lovely. I wish we got a little more variation in like their emotions. I think both of them, it's kind of like the same thing throughout, and the music does have a lot of like capacity for showing a wide variety of emotions there. But yeah, their voices are lovely. Also the choices in musical theater of like, how am I going to reach out? Is it a one hand to the corner? Is it a two-hander? They were both doing a two-hand, one doing this, but palms down, the other doing one slightly above, but forward, palms up. Acting choices. I always wonder what like the mechanics are of like rehearsing for this and like stage direction, like going over the blocking of like, hey, you're gonna walk here, then like I want you to like put up an arm here, something like that. There's some directors that are like a little freer with that, where they're like, yeah, just kind of like do whatever you feel. That's more for like, that's not always a common thing. Just be like, do whatever you feel. But I always wonder of like what the direction was like by the director being like, okay, I want you both to like put up your arms at the end, two arms, or if he was like even gave that direction at all and they just both happened to, or if they started doing the same thing and then he was like, okay, this needs to be a little bit different. One of you needs to change, like just the practical steps, like what those choices look like, I think is fun. Fun to think about. Okay, this is also from Jekyll and Hyde. This is something that I would watch, and being the little Mormon child, Mormon adolescent that I was like, whoa, this is about good and evil. What does this mean? But then also them portraying Lucy as like, even though she is a sex worker, that she's very kind. And so it's like, wow, imagine that, of like people not being demonized, but then also the song is called Good and Evil. So like these juxtapositions of like in many forms of art where a sex worker is sometimes a Christ figure of like the pure person in a line of work that is so unpure, that's just like, or it's work. It's work. Like an axe shape. I mean, yeah, that would deter a lot of people, I think. This probably contributed to my queer awakening, also. I mean, it's also theater, so clearly.
Men have argued through history as well they should. My philosophy, any child can see. Good is evil.
He's like, who, me?
And therefore all evil is good.
Weird to have like the two finger. Normally that looks like a gun. I don't know if that was intentional or no. Or if it's just supposed to be like, I have an idea.
How do you tell evil from good?
Tell us about it.
Evil does well, good, not so good. Evil's the one that is free everywhere. Good is the one that they sell. You must decide which is heaven, which is hell. Good men maintain evil's a curse. But it is plain the good's even worse. Evil's the one that they tell you to shun. Good is the
Forgot about that part. Oh my god. Where she's like looking up, she's like, good does worse. She's like looking at a guy's bulge up ahead. Up above.
Evil is viable goods and reliable goods may be thankable. Evil is thankable. Evil's for me.
This is pretty kinky.
Robin Hood.
Please,
you might go by the way that things are to remain good and evil. Then try to be evil.
Yeah, that for sure contributed to my queer awakening. uh, okay. Juniper! I hear her meowing. The door's open, Teeny. Although sometimes when it's slightly shut just too much, she won't come in, but she'll be at the door and meowing. I'm gonna open it slightly more for her. Yep, that seemed to do the trick. Hi. We'll see if Juniper comes up here. She's exploring. Hi, Dee. All right. Let us continue with probably the development of, me as a theater kid, but also certain kinks. This is probably way too much information. Whatever. I think this is much more of a shared experience than people want to admit. I loved and still love Cats musical. This does not include the newest version where with like all the CGI bullshit. That is horrifying. They should look like human cats because that's what it is. Human cats. Not this like unnerving combination. Uh this is the Rum Tum Tugger, John Partridge as the Rum Tum Tugger. Apparently, Jonathan Bailey, who was in, he's been in many things, but he was Fiyero in Wicked, has said that this is like one of his dream roles. This musical is hella queer. I mean, most musicals are because they're musicals, but I really enjoyed this particular one. This was filmed in the 80s. And the like costuming and the makeup, I think like the wigs that they have, it's all very fun. I still maintain I think I was born to direct Cats, but in like a more like erotic feline fever dream sort of way. So it lends itself to that. But I would be getting a lot of people who were able to dance on poles, do silks, because that's what it lends itself to. Also, like kitten play. Yeah, this is just pet play, what's happening. So you might as well like lean into it. The Phantom of the Opera, the one with Gerard Butler and Emmy Rossum, I'll admit, I watched the shit out of that show. And Gerard Butler really was not up to the task for the vocals of the Phantom. They're really hard songs that he has to sing. Um, and I thought like Emmy Rossum did a great job. It was like one of the few instances that I saw of someone with like long brown curly hair that I was like, wow, singing operatic. Alice says hello. Hello, Alice. Did she know that Cats was happening? She was like, this is where we gather. The Jellicle Ball. All right. This is from only a couple of years ago. So in 2023, this is a performance of Cynthia Erivo. So this still contributed to, because I'm still a theater kid, contributed to my theater kid development in seeing Cynthia Erivo perform this. Like, this is what live performance is, like what it is supposed to be in my mind. So while many people are first familiar with Cynthia Erivo as playing Elphaba in Wicked, the theater kids know her from her portrayal of Celie in The Color Purple that she won a Tony Award for. I mean, so many of these that I've shown people have won like Tonys for. Like the first one that I showed of musicals, at least Sutton Foster, she won a Tony. That happened shortly after she was in Thoroughly Modern Millie that she won the Tony Award for. So this is after Cynthia winning this award when she played Celie on Broadway, which she had previously played Celie in or on the West End, and that is how she got found for the Broadway cast. And that was the year that Hamilton swept the Tonys. That's the awards ceremony for musicals. And she won Best Actress, as she should. Hi. You didn't want to watch Cats? Was that too much for you? The cats are gathering. Hello. Come here. There you go. Juniper's joining. Juniper probably says hello to Alice. Do you say hello? I think so. All right. So this isn't musical theater per se, but it is for the theater kids. So that's my justification. This was part of my stream of consciousness. It wasn't necessarily going in chronological order of my development as a theater kid, but just thinking of things of like, oh, this is a really good clip. I want to show this. Don't drink my water. Beanie. She's like, but that's where we drink, right? This is a tribute to Dionne Warwick.
What's it all about, Alfie? Is it just for the moment we live? What's it all about when you sort it out, Alfie? Are we meant to take more than we give, or are we meant to be kind? And if only fools are kind, Alfie, then I guess it is wise to be cruel. And if life belongs only to the strong, Alfie, what will you lend on an old golden rule? As sure as I believe there's a heaven above, Alfie, I know there's something much more, something even non-belief.
Do you see the audience? They're in awe, as they fucking should be. The man who's nodding behind, that woman just... Also, by the way, Dionne Warwick is known to be pretty honest about her critiques of people's performances, especially when they're performing her music. She can be what some would consider harsh, but I just consider to be like her valuing her music and wanting people to do it justice. And she's very pleased with this performance. No, Teeny. know better, bud. Like, are you kidding me? I get the goosebumps every time.
I love him as well.
Hello. Ew, Genocide Joe is there. Forgot about that. Before CBS was taken over, before the Kennedy Center was taken over. But, you know, a lot of these ceremonies can be kind of like circle jerks anyway at the Kennedy Center, because of like a certain kind of person getting to a certain amount of notoriety and status, which a lot of the time that just has to do with class and wealth, accumulating wealth. But, you know, Dionne Warwick really has contributed so much to music. And Cynthia Erivo has performed a few times at the Kennedy Center. She might as well be like an honorary performer, I guess, up until now with all of the Trump bullshit. But Cynthia Erivo, I mean, this goes without saying, but like one of the best vocalists of all time. Like truly. And not only that, but she's such a good actress as well, just actor overall, in being able to understand the technical aspects of like what she needs to do with her voice in order to evoke certain feelings in an audience, but also like how to portray that outwardly, like with her expressions and her body language. It just like builds on one another in such a way that is like, this is truly like one of the best performers of all time. That's my opinion. She really is extraordinary. And I think she should have won the Oscar for Wicked Part 1. Wicked Part 2, I think was disappointing, but largely it's because like how it's written is kind of disappointing. I think they should have killed the wizard. That would have been a better ending. Instead of being like, you're banished, that's a good enough punishment. That's like, no. This fucker needs to go, and not in that way. That's my take. If you watch The Guillotine by The Coup, Boots Riley, his group, that makes me sound like a boomer. He wrote that song, so I think that's a preferable ending. Okay. I wanted to show this from Sweet Charity. We're talking about formative musical moments. This features Bob Fosse's choreography, one of the great choreographers of musical theater. You'll see references to this move particularly in pop culture, of like walking with like the hands behind the back, doing this. That's where this comes from. Also, this is what I think I look like when I'm smoking. You can tell it takes a lot of inspiration from like Egyptian hieroglyphics. Um, there is this element of like certain positions um, looking pretty similar, or even like head movements like this that come from more Desi dancing traditions as well. Yeah, especially a flexed foot doing this. This is part of a lot of Bharatanatyam. This performer looks like Laganja Estranja. I'm gonna pull up a picture real quick. Laganja Estranja. No? Do we see? I think so. The heavyweight. There are some moves as well of like this, like I've seen like there could be some Motown singers that could dance like this, especially like the development of groups of female singers. Big Finish. I don't love that they had a cheetah for this. Seeing any sort of animals that I'm like, they should be in the wild, not here in film. All of the ethics that are involved. Doing this, that's a very bassy thing to do, especially in a lot of traditional Indian dance. Not only in dance, but also just as expression. Do you see how high he's jumping? Like, holy shit. All right, that sweet charity. My cousin said he thinks me organizing against infiltrating fascist networks and organizing isn't worth my time since it doesn't benefit me or bring me profit, which I think is ridiculous. That same logic applies to giving a homie a bill when they're down on their luck. No, I agree. I think especially in understanding like the stakes involved. I had to make our decision. Got a comrade. Fendi. All right. So, I'm deciding between a couple of things. Shall we watch something like we were talking about Wicked, Cynthia Erivo, which, you know, it's a story of the Wizard of Oz retelling, like a prequel, if you will. This is Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz. I loved The Wizard of Oz growing up. This was my first musical that I was in. I was in community theater at Rogers Memorial Theater, and I was crow number 3, and I had like 3 lines, and I made a joke, like a scarecrow joke that was like, too much of a stuffed shirt. I was like, that's the only line I remember. I was very proud though, and we had a little dance. And that was like my main role, but then also being in the chorus, I was a Winky, one of the soldiers. I was a polisher in the Emerald City. So those were some very fun times, especially when you like do your numbers, change costumes, then go like fuck around off stage, as long as it isn't like disruptive.
Brain if you had one.
Do? Why, if I had a brain, I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain. And my head I'd be scratching while my thoughts were busy hatching if I only had a brain. I'd unravel every riddle for any individual in trouble or in pain.
With the thoughts you'd be thinking you could be another Lincoln if you only had a brain.
Oh, I could tell you why the ocean's near the shore. I could think of things I never thought before, and then I'd sit and think some more. I would not be just a nuffin, my head all full of stuffin', my heart all full of pain. I would dance and be merry, life would be a ding-a-dairy if I only had a brain.
Wonderful. Why, if our scarecrow back in Kansas could do that, the crows would be scared to pieces.
They would? Where's Kansas?
That's where I live. And I want to get back there so badly, I'm going all the way to Emerald City to get the Wizard of Oz to help me.
You're going to see a wizard? Do you think if I went with you, this wizard would give me some brains?
I couldn't say. But even if he didn't, you'd be no worse off than you are now.
Yes, that's true.
But maybe you better not. I've got a witch mad at me, and you might get into trouble.
Witch? I'm not afraid of a witch. I'm not afraid of anything. Oh, there. Except a lighted match.
I don't blame you for that.
But I'd face a whole box full of them for the chance of getting some brains. Look, I won't be any trouble because I don't need a thing. And I won't try to manage things because I can't think. Won't you take me with you?
Why, of course I will.
Hooray! We're off to see a wizard!
The Wizard of Oz. All right. Okay. So, moving along. This is from the movie In the Heights. It was in theaters, or it came out in 2021. This was one of what's his name? John M. Chu's like first musicals that he did. He did the sequel to Step Up, I think, Step Up 2. So this helped him like prepare in learning how to direct for musicals, but this movie really did not get enough credit that it was due. So I thought we would watch a number from this. This is No Me Diga. That is from In the Heights. I enjoy this musical. There are some people who are who were upset, and I think they have some valid points to this, that the cast was pretty light-skinned, that a lot of the main parts people tended to have lighter skin than like the majority of demographics that they're trying to portray. So there is not as much diversity as what I think there should be and what other people think there should be. But I think the musical was really well done, especially like one of the best like movie, like stage to movie adaptations that I have seen of a musical. All right. You get in a good position, you can pay it off. All right.
How long's the wait? For you, mamita, front of the line.
Gorgeous! Linda, tell me something I don't know. Yeah. Sucia, cabrona. Tell me something I don't know. A little off the top, a little on the side. A little bit of news you heard around the barrio. Tell me something I don't know.
with a skank like that? Please tell me you're joking.
Okay. Just wanted to see what you'd say.
Get it, Mala. Tell me something I don't know. What? I don't care. Ay, bendito.
So, Nina, I hear you've been talking to Benny.
What do you hear?
I hear plenty. They say he's got quite a big taxi. No me diga.
Okay. I don't want to know where you heard all that. I don't think I know what you mean.
He's packing a stretch limousine.
Tell me something I don't know. Long as he keeps it clean.
Oh, God.
Ay, Dios mío.
Nina, seriously, we know.
I think these two actresses are, or they were in Orange is the New Black.
Be the one to make it out.
I'll bet you impressed them all out west. You were always the best, no doubt. We want the road seats to your graduation.
The nailography.
We'll scream and shout.
I dropped out.
No me diga.
Yeah, I should go.
You can't leave with wet hair.
Piece of news.
She probably flunked out.
Well, she got a little bun in the oven, you know.
Hi.
What the hell happened?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Tell me something I don't know.
Que sé yo.
All right. So I was talking about Phantom of the Opera earlier. This is from the 25th anniversary. Being the theater nerd that I am, I bought this. I think it was available on Amazon. So this is with Sierra Boggess. In the description, they're calling her Borges. That's not her last name. Sierra Boggess. She was Christine in The Phantom of the Opera in Las Vegas. She was also the original Ariel in The Little Mermaid on Broadway. Ramin Karimloo, he is incredibly talented and hot. I mean, they're both hot, so that certainly helps with the appeal of all of this. But they were cast in the sequel to Phantom of the Opera called Love Never Dies. That musical was really bad and dumb. There's there are like two songs that are good in Love Never Dies, but the writing to it all is bad, so you don't need to look that up. Stephanie Beatrice was not in Orange is the New Black, if you're pointing to her. Oh, I thought she was. I might be confusing her with someone else. Thank you for correcting me. Okay, I do recognize her from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So, like, opposite of Orange is the New Black. Who was I thinking of? Black cast. One of the other characters was in Orange is the New Black. Yeah. What was her name in it? Like, Dina? Now I'm just making things up. I mean, she was in it. The cast is so big. Okay. I thought that was her, Jackie Cruz. That's my bad. Yeah. Yeah, where she plays Flocka. My bad. All right. So returning to Phantom of the Opera, this is the Phantom of the Opera song. I wanted to get this one because we get to hear them both sing and act together. I've been wanting to come up with like a parody of sorts. I'm like, what if we came up with an Andrew Lloyd Webber compilation of sorts, but we were able to get Trump to be involved? Like, could we persuade him of anything if we broadcast it and gave him costumes? I doubt this would change any of his like deeply fascist leanings, but you know, he does seem to be extremely gullible and loves Andrew Lloyd Webber and is narcissistic. So if we let him dress up, let him do all of this, but it was like, we need healthcare. I doubt that would change anything, but like, maybe. Might be worth a shot. After she hits this high note, that's a high E. I know that because of being a nerd. Hear about that? Hmm? What is his name in the book? I read the book. It's like George or something like that. I'm gonna look this up. What is the Phantom's name? Eric. Eric. Yeah, I doubt it's just about singing Eric. I mean, Phantom of the Opera is problematic for many reasons. Of like, okay, is there consent involved? Seems like there's a lot of coercion happening. Also, they tell this story of her being like, oh, I grew up in this place, and when I was young, I would hear my father sing or teach me to sing. It's like, okay, so what he's doing, this is just grooming. Isn't this just grooming? But while growing up, I did not connect those dots like many of us don't. Being like, oh, that's what's happening? Okay, well, that's not great. That's bad. That's very bad. Um, the music is lovely. So, there you go. That is, like what you were saying, Bouncy. It is a classic in theater. This is something I have not seen before because as I was going through, this was my stream of consciousness and choosing clips that I was like, oh, I want to choose something from the 25th anniversary of Phantom of the Opera because they're both really good. And I don't want to show Gerard Butler because he's not up to the task of singing these parts, which reminded me of Russell Crowe not being up to the task of singing stars or really anything. That's so shady, but it's also true. Um, he really butchered that song in Les Mis. The same one where Anne Hathaway won the Oscar for her part as Fantine. We really got a wide variety of talent in that bitch. But I was very upset because Stars in my mind is like one of the like most beautiful songs in the musical. Um, Weirdly enough, I learned that like a lot of MAGA people like were using Les Mis as like this rallying cry like for Trump's re-election in like the 2024 election. And I'm like, do these people not know what it's about? Do they not know what the musical is about? Because it's about resistance to despots and authoritarianism, but you know, we can't really count on that crowd to be doing a whole lot of critical thinking. But I was like, how about we watch Stars, reframe it, because I wish I could burn that memory of Russell Crowe singing Stars out of, you know, my psyche. But I did see this as I was looking for different versions of Stars sung by Six Javers, and I love this shit. For the true theater nerds, if you really love a musical in particular, people will like be like, "Oh, have you seen this version? Have you seen this version of this actor in this role? Who is your favorite? Who's your favorite in this role?" And so the role is Javert, who is like a cop essentially, who is hunting down Jean Valjean, where he was imprisoned for stealing a loaf of bread. The story is good. It's much too heavy on like Christian symbolism for my taste, but the music is beautiful and this song is extraordinary, and I have not seen it. And so I am interested in seeing what this has in store for us, and maybe we have a discussion or talk about who we thought was the best. Sung by Six Javers.
Out in the darkness, a fugitive running.
His character is always heavy on the chops.
Fallen from God, fallen from grace.
In most of the styling.
God be my witness, I never shall yield till we come face to face. Till we come face to face. He knows his way in the dark.
To be honest, I'm not familiar with any of these performances. So this is a reaction to all of these for the first time.
Mine is the way of the Lord. Those who follow the path of the righteous shall have their reward. And if they pull as loose of a bear, the flame, the sword, stars.
Okay. What? Is that guy new? Has he been here? Man bun? He looks new. Okay, we'll see about this guy. He seems to be relying on like the texture of his voice, but we'll see what his vocals have in store.
In your multitudes, scarce to be counted, filling the darkness.
Oh, this is dueling Javers in this performance.
With order and light, you are the sentinels, silent and sure, keeping watch in the night.
Okay, last guy, this guy.
In the night.
I really like theirs.
You know your place in the sky. You hold your course and your aim. And each in your season returns and returns, and is always the same. And if you fall as Lucifer fell, you fall in flame. And so it must be, for so it is written on the doorway to paradise, that those who falter and those who fall must pay the price. Lord, let me find him, that I may see him. Save me, my Lord.
You see the split screen? Damn. Yeah, I like theirs the best out of this. I mean, there are some great performances all around.
This I swear by the stone.
Wow. Good word, gentlemen. They don't care what I have to say. Did you see Ramin Karimloo? There he is. He played, oh, what's his ass? Anjel, I think. That's who Aaron Tveit played in that same movie with Russell Crowe and Anne Hathaway. Okay. Miss Saigon. That is another one that has extraordinary music, but it is propaganda that we need to confront, of like normalizing atrocities with the Vietnam War. It doesn't mean that they don't acknowledge certain things, but like I think it definitely is propaganda, war propaganda. Okay. Shall we watch a couple more and then read Macbeth? Then I'll get out of here. This is another Kennedy Center performance, but it was in 1997. This is from Ragtime, a very sad musical, but Brian Stokes Mitchell is in it along with Audra McDonald. Both are incredible performers, actors, vocalists. So let's give our ears, eyes, senses a treat by watching their performance.
There's a new show about to open on Broadway called Ragtime, based on E.L. Doctorow's novel. It's a picture of this nation's hopes and its pains of almost 100 years ago as we were entering the American century. Here are Audra McDonald and Brian Stokes Mitchell.
You've been polishing that car so hard, there ain't gonna be anything left for us to ride home in.
Well, you laugh, but you wait and see. This is no ordinary car, Sarah. It's gonna take us to a better day and a better time. Imagine that. Imagine what this child's life can be.
I've never seen this musical. I've only seen clips of performances from it, and I know the story, but I've never seen it live. Hi, bud. Hi, welcome. This is Ragtime, and Audra McDonald and Brian Stokes Mitchell, they're both incredible actors, vocalists, performers. They look pretty young here because they are.
I hear his heartbeat. I look in those eyes.
No, little baby. Little stage prop baby. I love thinking about that. Oh, my cat. This baby too. Hi, Teeny. Sorry, Teeny. You're a baby too.
He's old enough. I will show him America. And he will ride on the wheels of a dream.
Think of something that, I mean, oh, that's so nice, Bug. Thank you. If I'm remembering the story correctly, maybe I'll look at a quick overview of Ragtime where they're talking about the American dream, but they, in the musical, actually talks about how, the American dream really is not that simple to achieve, if achievable at all.
To cream, then we'll travel on from there.
California, who knows where?
And we will ride on the wheels of a dream. Yes, the wheels are turning for us, girl, and the times are starting to roll. Any man can get where he wants to if he's got some fire in his soul. We'll see justice, Sarah, and plenty of men who will stand up and give us our due. Oh, Sarah, it's more than promising. Sarah, it must be true. A country that lets a man like me own a car, raise a child, build a life with you.
Uh-oh. Key change. They're very talented. Okay, I won't reveal too much in case people are not wanting to know the story, but it is sad. And there's a part where someone goes to fight for Emiliano Zapata. I don't remember that in my original reading of it, but also when I was younger, I didn't know who that was. So, more revolutionary than what I remembered. But yeah, makes us question what the American dream is. Did it ever exist? Whoops. I'm flipping back and forth too much. Okay, this is a performance of Don't Rain on My Parade by Barbra Streisand from Funny Girl. This is a classic. This really is for the girlies, the babies, the gays, all of us. All of us who enjoy theater. I mean, hopefully all of this is what I have been showing for all of us who enjoy theater, but this is a classic. Babs. Let's see what Babs has in store for us. I remember renting Funny Girl from a locally owned um, movie rental place where it was on VHS that we watched Funny Girl. Is it still around? I don't know if it's still around.
One ticket on the Empire Limited
The
departing
movie
New York
rental
at
place.
8:30 a.m. Now boarding at track 14. Fanny, what's the matter with you? Haven't you any pride? Of course not. I love the guy. He loves me. I want to be with him. It's that simple. Fanny, can't you see you're making a fool of yourself? Georgie, when something's right for me, I do it, and this is right for me.
Have you asked yourself if it's right for Nick?
I'll make it right for him. Honey, don't stick your neck out this way. Don't do it.
Funny Girl is about Fanny Bryce, someone who was in the Ziegfeld Follies. So, the Drowsy Chaperone that we were watching at the beginning of this, also about the Ziegfeld Follies. Often people think that the character of Janet Van de Graaff is inspired by Fanny Bryce.
Don't quit. Don't tell me. Don't tell me not to live, just sit and putter. Life's candy and the sun's a ball of butter. Don't bring around a cloud to rain on my parade. Don't tell me not to fly, I simply got to. If someone takes a spill, it's me and not you. Who told you you're allowed to rain on my parade? I'll march my band out. I'll beat my drum.
Yep, that's where this comes from. The styling, do we see the costumes in this? Also, like, they shot this in New York City, and that's why it looks so authentic. It takes place in New York City. So, like, the sets, the places that they're filming, it really just adds to the whole feel because it's taking place in the place it actually takes place. And I think all of these places are just so beautifully chosen. It's like, this color looks so lovely on her. This hat, cunty.
And out your turn at bat, sir. At least I didn't fake it, hat, sir. I guess I didn't make it, but whether I'm the rose of sheer perfection or freckle on the nose of life's complexion, the cinder or the shiny apple of its eye, I gotta fly once, I gotta try once, only can die once, right, sir? Ooh, life is juicy, juicy, and you see I gonna have my bite, sir. Get ready for me, love, cause I'm a comer. I simply gotta march, my heart's a drummer.
Yeah.
Don't bring around
There's
a
such great
cloud
shots
of
in
rain
this.
on my parade. I'm gonna live
And of
live
course, she
now.
has such a stunning
What
voice.
I want, I know how. One roll for the whole shebang. One throw, that bell will go clang. Eye on the target and wham. One shot, one gunshot and bam! Hey, Mr. Onstein, here I am.
Oh no. It also said she was in the first class section. He gets on a different boat.
I'll march my band out. I'll beat my drum. And if I'm fender, your turn at bat, sir. At least I didn't fake it, hat, sir. Guess I didn't make it. Get ready for me, love, cause I'm a comer. I simply gotta march my heart to drum. I know. Nobody, no, nobody is gonna rain on my parade.
It's a very iconic shot, especially with those colors together. Like, that was very intentional to help her stand out with those colors paired together. Okay. That's a classic. All right. Now that shall we shift to Macbeth, and then I'll get out of here. I have not seen this particular clip, but I am interested in it. Oh, there's some books Juniper knocked off. Classic cat behavior. She looks very proud of herself, too. Okay, so this clip features the guy from Outlander. I don't know his name, but I'm like, oh, it's a Scottish play. He's Scottish, so that's cool. I have not seen his performance, but we are on scene 7, I believe. Yes. So this is of scene 5, but I think this helps set the scene for scene 7, like as a reminder of their previous conversation of Lady Macbeth and Macbeth, of what they're wanting him to do to kill the king. So let's see what this performance is about.
Your face, my Thane, is as a book where men may read strange matters.
I love the set and the costumes.
To beguile the time, look like the time. Bear welcome in your hand, your eye, your tongue. He that's coming must be provided for. And you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch, which shall, to all our days and nights to come, give solely sovereign sway and masterdom.
We will speak further.
So a modern interpretation of Macbeth. What do you think, Bug? All right. So this is a scene with Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. I actually went through and like read it before this stream, and to be honest, that is the most responsible thing that I should be doing before every stream. So I'm going to be trying to adopt this practice so that it's like I have a general idea of what like the scenes are about, and try to plan things generally around them. But I think if I am wanting to be more responsible about education, this is something I should be engaging in more. So here we go. Once again, we have hot boys entering. Same. Like Hautboys, meaning people with oboes too. Torches enter a sewer and sewer. This is in the stage direction as written by Shakespeare. Enter a butler and divers servants with dishes and service over the stage. Do you have any tips on dealing with burnout? Have you ever dealt with it personally? Yes, for sure. I think especially like at the last job I was at before being like pushed out. Like I think especially realizing in hindsight of like certain tactics being used to make that be a thing. And I mean, I'm not the only one that has experienced that. I think anyone who is having to work for a living experiences burnout, or just like being forced to do something that you are not necessarily choosing for yourself, like if you had a choice. But how have I dealt with it? It's difficult because like many spaces like in workplaces are built to work you for all you are worth. And so it is hard to work around that kind of burnout. I think one thing that can help is accessing benefits. And even if you are getting these intimidation tactics from bosses to not let you access benefits, taking time, like if you are having time accrued for certain things to relax, like using that shit. Because I think that's something that I would do in the past of like, well, I don't know if I need this during this time, of like I want to like make sure I have enough time for something. And I would often let a lot of like leave or just not access as much leave as what I wish I had, of like if you can and are able to use time to like have time off, especially if it is paid. Not everyone is afforded this either. Um, use that shit. I think, taking care of basic needs. I'm not always the best at this, but just like learning to be in tune with your body, which often like living in these capitalist colonial hellscapes, it makes it so that we're constantly feeling like we need to dissociate in order to survive. But like having more grounded parts of the day, whether that's like the beginning of the day, that's something I'm wanting to be better about, is like not immediately just looking at my phone getting up, of like having more intentional time throughout the day to like be with myself and in the moment, to practice that kind of mindfulness. And doing things you enjoy, of like what gives back to you. Like, do you feel like there is like a certain amount of like childlike joy, nostalgia to indulge in, or like things that you're excited to learn about, of like having things that are outside of the thing that's causing you burnout to like give you reasons to be excited of existing? um like whether that's like a new topic that you want to learn about, like having curiosity in a certain part of your life, I think is really helpful. I'm not a health professional, a mental health professional, so like don't necessarily like take my word at that level, but I also can learn a lot from what I'm saying, so I know that I'm like not great at practicing this either. But yeah, I think especially a big one is like burnout that can come from like relationships that don't give back to you. Especially when there's so many elements of this world that are taking our energy, especially like non-consensually in the workplace when we can't control all of these circumstances. Organizing in a workplace that can help with burnout, to help you feel like there is more control there, so that you have more collective bargaining power. So like channeling that into action, rather than despair, or whether that's like a tenant union or community organizing. Bouncy the other day shared a lot of really great resources for community organizing, that can help like be a release valve for a lot of the pain and suffering that we experience, to be like, okay, this is actually going towards something that I believe in. Yeah, and also like what I was saying before, like if there are people that you feel like you leave situations more drained, um, then it is worth having limited contact with people. Can you see the links? Ooh, that's a great idea. Let's see. How do I make this window bigger? Here we go. Getting a little closer. Why is this so small? For some reason, I'm struggling to get this out. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm getting closer. Here we go. It's saving it? Wait, I think I maybe. Yeah, while I'm looking for it, yeah, I think understanding like where you are expending energy, if there can be any sort of change, then trying to create change. Okay, this isn't a link, but this is what a resource that you shared, Bouncy, for organizing. I don't know why the link isn't. Some of these links I'm not seeing for some reason. Which, like, even organizing can lead to burnout, or especially. For me personally, of like actually being present and engaging with my cats, engaging with people who I actually feel like lighter around. Like there are some people, like even if they don't necessarily mean to, and like there are relationships that are not necessarily that reciprocal. And I think the older I get, like I'm 31, the more I like just don't have the energy or time to be um here we go. Here's a link. Training for change. Yeah. Here's that link. It's been around a month since I finished my project and I'm still kind of just tired in general. Was this a creative project? And like I think even reframing that can be helpful of like for this project it probably required a lot of energy and time and heart involved, and like if that is taking a lot from you, like it's okay to have more time to like build that up again. Like even sometimes like I've gone through phases, especially as an adult, in reading more and not. And like I would read voraciously when I was younger and I never had any sort of burnout with reading, but I think like college really did that. Um and so like I associated it with like some stress as well instead of like pleasure or, you know, something that's exciting of like maybe even trying something new of like, oh, this is a type of genre I haven't read before, or a new book, or like even going back to things that like lead you to what you started liking about it to begin with. I think that can help of like sometimes if, after I've read something like that's really dense or heavy, I can even go back to like some like children's books that I've liked as like not having as much of a cognitive or emotional load. It was originally for fun and it did well for itself, but near the end it became more tiring than energizing. Yeah, that's hard. It's hard, especially if like you care a lot too, of like that can be tiring of like you really working hard, but like knowing how to pace yourself, that's really important. Not really sure what to do next. I don't want to work just for money, even if it's self-made projects. Yeah, I think um even just thinking about like what is speaking to you at this time? Like, is there anything that like gets you even like the slightest bit excited or interested or like curious about something? I think especially for like us creative types, I think all people are creative, but especially if you do it like on a regular basis, um, of trying to create things on your own, of like creating art, um, we can often be super critical of ourselves, and that can make it so we don't even like start certain things. I think like lately what I've been trying to do, because like I can be very critical about like my like visual art skills. I mean like all of my skills. But I'm like I'm not going to claim that I'm like some genius. Um but and there's like a lot of technique that I am lacking or wanting to learn about, of like rather than it being something that deters me, looking at like learning from people who are energized from something, of like, oh, this is something I'm wanting to get better at, and instead of it preventing me from trying, I want to use it as a vehicle to get me to practice. And so that way it like I'm honing my skills, and then also it helps so that I'm not as frustrated with the project in general and the product that I'm creating. But I think even just like connecting with people who can relate to what you're going through, people who are still energized by it, and seeing like what they like about it in particular. Um, yeah, and also like pacing of like I have had the tendency in the past to like where I think I still have this of like getting really excited about a project and starting on it and then not finishing things because I'm like I don't like how it's turning out, and then I just like stop. And that's not, the best mentality. But especially if you're doing something for so-called fun, sometimes it's worth like pushing through those moments, or like spanning it out over a longer period of time, or like scheduling it into your day, of like reserving a certain amount of time, of like if there's like even trying something at a different time of day, or like trying like a new medium, or playing different kinds of music or something that like while you're doing it. I think a lot of the time like burnout is a signal, of like our bodies and minds, like spirits, if we believe in such things, being like this is taking a lot and it's not giving as much back. So like there may be like other parts of life where there is energy that you are also not getting back. And so it may take like a shift in priorities, or like just engaging in more self-care or like nicer self-talk. Burnout, I think, can also be very common when people are extremely self-critical. And I think most creative people can be, in wanting to like create something that you're proud of. I don't know if that was helpful, but it's okay to take breaks, you know? And to even like do something that is completely different than what you've done before, or like I'm trying to be nicer to myself and being like, just because I didn't finish a particular project, it doesn't mean that like it was a waste of time. or that like the effort that I put into it, it still meant something. I was still like excited about it in the moment. And that now I think I've been returning to certain things than I like have in the past and actually wanting to finish them. So like giving yourself that kind of grace. Like we're human, and I think there tends to be a narrative of like we have to be creative in a certain kind of way. We have to be machines. Like you have to get up at like 5 a.m. and do all of this like while the sun is rising, and play this kind of music while you're doing it. And it's like, who says there has to be that kind of formula? Just do what is giving back to you. But especially if like it's a project with more people that are involved, like setting more boundaries, that can be helpful. It can be hard, but it can be amazing what boundaries can do in giving back to you again. I don't know if that's helpful, but be nice to yourself. Like even the fact that like you have done projects, like being proud of what you have created rather than just wanting to move on to the next thing. Like we aren't machines, we're human beings. Like I choreographed something and I like posted it on YouTube, and I showed it to somebody and I was like very shy about it. I'm trying to be better about like celebrating the art that I make, of like actually having like a moment for it, of like, wow, I did that, rather than just being like, this still doesn't look good, or I wish I had done this differently. But there was someone that was like, so what is the next thing that you're doing? Like as soon as they were done watching it, and I was like, this was a lot to do. I don't know if I'm even going to make something else. Like, and what if I don't? Like, does that like take away from what I just did? But it was their way of saying like they liked what they saw and they wanted to see more. At least that's like my interpretation. And they were excited of what I was creating, but like making sure that like it comes from an internal place of like not wanting to just please other people. Of like, I've been working on some choreography for like a couple of numbers, and I was even getting burnt out of that and like letting it like sit for a bit. And I like started choreographing for other things, and I think that has helped me have more motivation and excitement again for choreographing, because like the pressure is self-imposed, you know. And like I think that like comment kind of like will go back in my head, and it's like that it was, I don't think that was their point in trying to be like, so like keep making things, come on, what's the next thing, you know. But that's often how it can feel, and often like how the pacing is in the world that we exist in today. So like I don't know if any of that made sense or if that's helpful, but I think it's very cool that you're creating things, that you should be proud of the stuff that you are creating, and like really celebrating what you've done so far. I feel like everything is moving so fast. Yeah, it's like I know many people who make art for a living. That is something people say, of like, so what's the next thing? What are you doing next? And it's like, we can't just say like, wow, this was great, let's sit in this for a bit, because it's the constant like production and wanting to make money from it, the commodification of it, that often can lead to a lot of burnout too. Move like a turtle and everyone is so fast paced. That's okay. Like, who says that's even like, if that works for them, cool. But if that doesn't for you, that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just different. I don't know. I think especially I can be kind of like boomer-esque in this mentality of like, I have not really ever been on social media consistently, even though I've grown up with it. because it stresses me out because of like the immediacy of communication. And I think there is something to savor in taking things slowly and pacing yourself and like not being in a rush all the time, because it's usually on like other people's timetables, not your own. Like if we're all honest with ourselves of like, why does it stress us out in getting tons of text during the day? It's like, I don't know if our brains were really meant to make ourselves so available to everyone all the time and to constantly be comparing and seeing so many different kinds of people and be like, well, they do it like this. And it's like just going back to your center and being like, no one can do what you do in the way that you do it, in the way that you think, and what you have to offer. So, like, don't try to be like other people. That's the contrarian in me. Can be overstimulating. Yeah, and even if that means like taking a break from social media, like that can be a huge factor with comparison. Seeing how so many people are doing their lives. Yeah, and it gets to be exhausting. And we all have to remember, like, I have worked in social media management. Maybe that's also a reason why I am like, that's contributed to my antipathy towards social media. But like, it's all kind of smoke and mirrors. It's not real life. Even if people want to like be like, you can have people who are authentic, but like you're only getting small snapshots of people in their lives and what they're choosing to let you see. It's all very curated. So like it's comparing some of like the best of people and like how they're wanting to be perceived. And it's like I think we all have these moments of self-doubt and burnout. So be nice to yourself. Also, if there's ever anything like your art that you would like to share, I'm happy to share people's submissions in Culture Corner. That's something that I like doing on streaming, is actually like highlighting the talent of not only the working class, but this community, because I think we tend to be like, if I'm only getting like this many views or this much money from it, then that means it's worth it. But it's like the act of creating is a very brave thing to do. It's very vulnerable. So yeah, I mean, there's no pressure if you don't want to share anything, but also if you do, I love bragging about the people here. But, you know, sending healing, strength, solidarity to you. Do you think you can upload the last 10 minutes or so to YouTube or the Discord? Yeah. I upload VODs to YouTube. But I can clip that. I mean, even me being like, is that something like doubting of like, I'm not an expert in shit in most things. So like me even doubting of like, would people even want that clipped to listen back to? But if you feel like you want to, I can clip that for you and then share it in the Discord. Okay. I mean, that's also not to say like my advice is like the only, or like what works for me is what works for everyone, you know? And like wherever you can find that of like what is helpful to you, I think that's worth exploring too. But that's a good question. I think it's brave and cool that you are creating things to begin with in a world full of AI slop where these people in the 1%, these fascist billionaires, are trying to control what is culture, what is art, what is acceptable and normal. To be doing that is very radical. So, like, make sure you're taking care of yourself in the meantime. Sending solidarity to you. All right. Shall we get into Macbeth? So this is scene 7 in Act 1. We have all of the servants entering, and then Macbeth. Oh, I should put on my gloves. As I was noticing the pages like getting slightly soggy from my sweaty hands. I was like, okay. I need to protect what is left of this book. It's already had water damage, and not just from my hands. It's gloves time. Ooh, ooh. If you can't tell, I really like velvet. But also with having cats, there is a constant need for fur mitigation. All right. Starting with Macbeth. If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. If the assassination could trammel up the consequence and catch with his surcease success, that but... we have a footnote. If only I could gain success with Duncan's death, meaning the king, his surcease. If only the assassination were the end of the matter. Trammel up the consequence means restrain the subsequent sequence of events as in a trammel or net. So, like, control the circumstances, essentially. That but this blow might be the be-all, and the end-all. Here. But here upon this bank and shoal of time, we jump the life to come. So the be-all and end-all, that is from Macbeth, clearly, that phrase. We have another footnote. A shoal is a sandbar, which means the mortal span is seen as a narrow piece of land in the river of time. So when he's saying we'd jump the life to come, we'd risk the life to come. So he's having this existential crisis and weighing his ambition in saying that, like, if we knew that this was it, this was the only life that existed, there wasn't like an afterlife, that we would risk many more things. But in these cases, we still have judgment here, that we but teach bloody instructions, which being taught, return to plague the inventor. We have another footnote. We still have judgment here, meaning we are invariably punished for our actions. I mean, that depends on what class you're in, your connections, how much money you have. I mean, I guess that's class anyway. This even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poisoned chalice to our own lips. He's here in double trust. First, I am his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed. Then as his host, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself. So he's saying, like, his conscience is speaking out because he's related to Duncan. He's also supposed to be loyal to the king. And also one of the greatest, sins of all is that he is a host to the king in his house. And you should be treating guests with, like, the utmost respect, not killing them. Money you have, at least at any given moment, isn't inherently your class, but I know what you mean. Yeah, that is true. Or like the accumulation thereof, of the circumstances it has allowed you to be born in. Besides, this Duncan hath borne his faculty so meek, hath been so clear in his great office that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off, and pity, like a naked newborn babe, striding the blast, or heaven's cherubim, horsed upon the sightless couriers of the air, shall blow the horrid deed in every eye. So he's saying because Duncan has been so-called weak, or he's been so kind, I mean, can we have a king really be that benevolent and kind when he is hoarding all of this wealth and power and exploiting people? But he's saying because he has been so kind that it is going to be like even more, it's going to be even more of an evil deed. And that everyone will be able to see it for being evil. And see him as being evil. The tears shall drown the wind. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other. So tears will fall like heavy rain, which was believed to still the wind. Another footnote. The other side, the images of a rider vaulting over his horse instead of into his saddle, or of a horseman who clears a high obstacle but falls on the other side. So, like, getting ahead of himself. Of his ambition doing that. Of, like, if I miss, then this could be fatal. Enter Lady Macbeth. How now? What news? Lady Macbeth. He has almost supped. Why have you left the chamber? They're talking about the king. Hath he asked for me? Know you not he has? We will proceed no further in this business. He hath honored me of late, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon. So he's like, I don't want to kill the king anymore. I've changed my mind. Lady Macbeth. Was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Hath it slept since, and wakes it now to look so green and pale at what it did so freely? From this time such I count thy love. Art thou afeard to be the same in thine own act and valor as thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have that which thou esteemest the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would, like the poor cat in the adage? Footnote. The cat, meaning like this adage, the cat would eat fish but does not dare to wet her feet. Of like, you need to, you need to be willing to get dirty in this. So she's calling him out, calling out his manlyhood. Manliness? Manhood? Manlyhood? I don't know if that's a word. Maybe it is now. Macbeth. Prithee, peace. I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none. So he's offended by her questioning his manlyhood. Lady Macbeth. What beast was it then that made you break this enterprise to me? When you durst do it, then you were a man, and to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. Nor time nor place did then adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and that their fitness now does unmake you. I have given suck, and know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from his boneless gums and dashed the brains out, had I so sworn as you have done to this. Macbeth, if we should fail? We fail! But screw your courage to the sticking place, and we'll not fail. Okay, we have a couple of footnotes here. The notch on a crossbow that holds the string, which is cranked or screwed taut. That's the sticking place. A lot of people think, like, that's saying, like, fuck your courage, of saying to the sticking place, but actually she's saying, like, I mean, I guess the language of, like, screw your courage, that can be viewed as, like, fuck your version of courage. She's like, you don't have to be afraid as long as you are prepared. Like, you just need to be more manly. And what she said about, like, nursing a baby, of her saying, partly her being prevented by being a woman to act in certain ways, of being a man, of certain ways of ruling and having power being cut off from her, of her saying like, I would, if I had the opportunity that you would, I would kill my own child. Of like, this is the desperation that I feel, the length of like my ambition, or the lengths that I will go to for this ambition, I guess I should say. When Duncan is asleep, whereto the rather shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him, his two chamberlains will I with wine and wassail so convince that memory, the warder of the brain, shall be a fume, and the receipt of reason a limbeck only. Footnote, alembic. The upper part of a still to which fumes rise, the wine will make the memory of a fume that will fill and cloud the brain, the receptacle of reason. When in swinish sleep their drenched natures lies as in a death, what cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers who shall bear the guilt of our great quell? Quell meaning a murder, and spongy meaning like soft and also like easily projected onto. Macbeth, bring forth men, children only, for thy undaunted mettle should compose nothing but males. Will it not be received when we have marked with blood those sleepy two of his own chamber, and used their very daggers that have done it? So he's seeming like he's coming back around to it after her convincing him again. And he was like, don't bring anyone who can fight, who can fight well, to be the guards. Lady Macbeth, who dares receive it other, as we shall make our griefs and clamor roar upon his death? Macbeth, I am settled, and bend up each corporal agent to this terrible feat. Away, and mock the time with fairest show. False face must hide what the false heart doth know. All right, so we made up his mind again. He was convinced. I don't think it really took that much of convincing, though. It's also kind of trying to place the blame on Lady Macbeth. But it's like, well then, why, bitch, meaning Macbeth, why did you think of immediately murdering the king when it was announced that you would be the king? So, Lady Macbeth often gets kind of like scapegoated in this, viewed as this corrupting, like biblical Eve-like character to condemn humankind to mortality and Adam. But also, it's like, Macbeth doesn't have to do anything. And he still chooses to do what he does. Which, if you're not familiar with Macbeth, we will get into it as time goes on. Alright. That's it for Macbeth today. Is there anyone on right now that we could do a raid? A cute little raid? Bouncy, you always have great recommendations. Oh, I do see Shovda's on. Let's see. Still the marathon? How long has she been doing this? Is it just like all summer? I'm Chef Steph. Oh, we haven't done them before. Okay. Some music. Oh, okay. They're listening to some music. All right. Let's go do a raid there. All right. Thank you for being here, everyone. It was lovely chatting with you. Sending care, solidarity to you all. I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, wherever you are. I appreciate you all. Okay, see you later.